Rodney faced some tough challenges, including a period of homelessness, but he rebuilt his life step by step with Builders First Source. Over nearly a decade, he's gone from building trusses to leading as market safety coordinator and now serves as a SkillBridge and veteran outreach specialist. He's passionate about helping other service members successfully transition into rewarding careers by sharing his own journey and opening doors through SkillBridge. His story is one of resilience, humility, and paying it forward to the military community. Rodney, thanks for being here and for all the work you've done to help veterans succeed. How you doing today?
Absolutely wonderful. It's a beautiful Friday morning. We can get this day kicked off, and every day is wonderful when you wake up and you're above ground.
Yeah. I prefer the flower portion of daisies with the roots version for my view. So not in a rush to get to there. So I'll get started right off with the big one. So I mean, can you share your transition out of the Marine Corps and what it was like for you personally?
Yeah, most definitely. First and foremost, thank you all for letting me join today. Uh, I appreciate and always been humbled to be able to share my story with anyone that is willing to listen. Um, so, like Ernest said, I was a Marine Corps veteran. I left the Marine Corps and joined law enforcement. Actually, did 10 years of law enforcement by Chicago.
Oof.
Uh, Shortly after that is kind of when my transition kind of took a turn. Um, I became my choices had put me up against a wall, and I became homeless. Uh, Ended up moving down here to Birmingham, Alabama, and using the VA here in Birmingham to kind of help me correct some of the crazy stuff I was doing, I guess you'd say, as a person. Uh, Ended up learning about the Builders First Source through a friend here in the Birmingham, Alabama market. And that, when you're kind of backed against the wall, you're kind of focused and pushed to what kind of options you have. So in August 17th of 2015, I joined Builders First Source as a truss assembler, making about $10 an hour. It was something that, you got to do what you got to do. Started working with the company and realized that at like 30 some years old, uh, manual labor probably wasn't going to be in my future for 20 years just because I'm getting a little bit older. So I did that for about 6 months. Um, and I've always heard that, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I sent an email to our market manager. All of our emails are the same. So it's your first name dot your last name, bldr.com. So I found out who the market manager was of my market and sent an email to him, told him who I was, um, what I was capable of, and that, I'd be love to speak with him and see if there was opportunities in the market where I could do something different. Got it a call the next day and had an interview, and they promoted me, or I got put in the position of a safety coordinator at our truss plant. And then from there, I just never looked back. I noticed we had other locations across the state. And so my next question, a few months later, a year later, was how could I save you money and I could be the market safety manager for all these locations? I'm already doing it for one. Instead of having 5 or 6 of us, why don't you just have me do it? And so I got promoted to the market safety manager of Northern Alabama and Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Uh, did that for about 7 years. And during that, I guess my military background of just wanting to be a part of something that was bigger, keep myself out of trouble, keep my mind going, was I always felt that during my struggle in life and putting myself homeless was I always just felt bad about kind of how I was living. And so when hurricanes hit and stuff like that, I started kind of getting veterans and other team members from the area together. And we would do donation drives for hurricanes down in Louisiana, Mississippi, or Florida. And so we would start doing big old huge donation drives, and then we had too much stuff. So hey, can we borrow a truck? And Builders First Source, yeah, take it wherever you want. One of the big ones we did was I think like 2019 or 20, the big one that hit like cut off Louisiana down that way, and we took a bunch of stuff down there. But just trying to be part of the growing Builders First Source had an ERG named Proud to Serve, and wanted to be a part of that and kind of be on the bigger picture. And then an opening opened up last April or May for the military outreach team. And I had an amazing manager at that time, Celia Croft. She was the programs manager here at Builders First Source, and interviewed, and she already knew me from kind of doing a lot of our Proud to Serve stuff. And she hired me on. And since then, I've just never looked back. Took the corporate position and moved away from kind of doing the market stuff. And for the past year, I've been the veteran SkillBridge specialist here for Builders First Source, trying to be the inside voice for veterans and service members as they try to transition or if they're looking for a position across the country. Builders First Source is a rather large company. We had about 600 and some locations in 44 different states, ranging anywhere from entry-level labor, dispatch. We have our own fleet of trucks, so non-CDL, CDL drivers, operations management, project management, and then the corporate side, you have human resources, legal, sales, safety. So it's a rather large company with options. But I would guess that my transition, it was a humbling experience to walk into the VA and ask for help, knowing that I had kind of had nowhere else to go. And so when I talk to candidates now, my main thing is I always want to try to live better and be better. And for the opportunity that Builders First Source gave me, I always want to be a good representation of my company. So I want to make sure that when people are talking to me, that they see how transparent and how thorough I am, because I want to make sure that I'm giving the best foot forward for my company. Some of the things that stuck out to me during my transition was, and kind of the stuff that I'm seeing over the past year, is that as service members transition, it's hard to kind of take that uniform off and that rank off and realize that you're just going to be Jim or Mary, whoever you may be, and you're starting a new career, a new progression. I guess my biggest advice would be that as you transition or as you look for roles, don't be scared to take a step down and grow with the company. That's exactly what I did. I had no idea how my path would be, but I was willing to work for $10 an hour, and I was willing to kind of take that step down just because I needed something. I had realistic expectations as I left law enforcement and kind of had that lull right there. But just know that a company is willing to take a chance on you. And a lot of us military-minded people, we have that grit to just want to kind of be the best. If I'm going to clean toilets, I want to be the best toilet cleaner there is. So just having realistic expectations, having that grit to kind of, well, I can't get a management position, but I can get whatever position might be low there, whatever opportunity you're looking for in your company or a company that you're speaking with. And then I'd say now, as I've kind of been in this position a little bit, I've traveled around to a lot of the career events across the country. We go to quite a few of them. What I love doing is kind of being a voice for service members and sharing resources. So even if we don't have an opportunity for somebody, I've made tons of great resource connections with a lot of great organizations across the country. Celia Croft, my former manager that hired me, that was kind of like a mentor, a person of great respect and just all around how she trained me and how she mentored me and took time to run me through everything. She's now with U.S. Foods and running a military and SkillBridge program with them. They have numerous locations, but meeting and talking to people from the other great companies that I can provide resources to. And a win to me is in the SkillBridge or in the veteran space is you don't have to come to work for Builders First Source, but a win to me as a veteran being taken care of, getting a gainful, willful employment and kind of moving forward with their journey. There is no, we close the door on you if you don't want to talk to us, or if opportunities aren't there. I'll spend time helping veterans across the country with, have you checked into this company, this company, this company, sharing LinkedIn resources, stuff like that. It's all about giving back. And I oftentimes have this conversation with candidates when I'm on the phone is, imagine if we just all started kind of sharing information and being kind to each other, what the world might be. Uh, I guess I feel like I'm living the job lottery every day. I get to wake up and I get to come to work and sit here, and especially today. My wife asked me last night, "Are you nervous?" I was like, "No, this is great. I love being able to speak." And it's sometimes people might think it's humiliating of my path and where I came, and I let myself get that bad. But
No.
God has a plan for everyone, and my plan, I think, is to I've been pushed to kind of share my outreach stories, so that way other people that might be struggling can maybe be able to jump that hurdle and find success in what they're looking for.
Do you feel like, I mean, did you have a plan coming out of the Corps to go do Leo work? And I mean, do you think that was just more of an extension of service that you're familiar with?
I think that was sounds like security forces in the Marine Corps. So I think my that was kind of my path as I transitioned. Um, when I got out, SkillBridge wasn't a thing when I got out. So, being kind of young and dumb, I didn't really have a plan of, I just wanted to get out of the Marine Corps. Um, it was let me find safety and get out of here and kind of um, put California in the rearview mirror. And I had interviewed for the sheriff's department and ended up getting hired and started doing that. Um, and that was great, but I think you have to find a purpose. I think you always have to have a backup plan. I'm kind of somebody that likes to have a plan for everything, and I'm learning that you can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. I guess is something I've been saying here the past few months. So you can plan and you can have these steps out, but I don't know who said it, but I've heard it before. You got to have a plan for when you get punched in the face.
Like Tyson?
And yeah, and that kind of sticks with me too. Life is going to knock you down, and the opportunities might not be there where you want, and that's where I guess like the resiliency of all of us. There's resiliency in everyone of okay, that didn't work out, but I can go here and I was willing to work at a entry level labor. I was building trusses in a truss plant, and just started putting my mind to it. You gotta put yourself out there. Um, if you're on LinkedIn, a lot of good things would be that um, reach out to uh, connections from a company. So if you're trying to talk to a company, look for somebody that works for that company to make that connection. Something we do or that I like doing on the military side is if you're a veteran, you're looking for a position to work, uh, reach out to me. You apply to a position, we'll set up a call. And then what I like doing is like a military introduction because a lot of the bigger companies, they use AI or they might give 150 other candidates for that position. So if you reach out to me, I try to go directly and get like a military introduction with you directly to the hiring manager, the GMs of that location, that market, and see what's going on there. It doesn't guarantee a position, but what it provides is 100% exposure for you as a candidate that you're going to be seen, your information is going to be seen, your skills, kind of moving forward like that.
Well, I mean, there's also the opportunity to make a new best friend if they refer you when they get hired too, because a lot of companies will, throw a bonus towards that, kind of a finder's fee. Do you guys do that as well?
So they do have Builders First Source has a referral fee. And then in our ERG alone, we have a lot of veterans and spouses and just people that support the military. So if I can make a connection with you and send you to a market, let's say in Albuquerque or El Paso, um, there could be somebody in there that could make that connection that can, hey, let's keep in touch. Let's do this. There might not be something now, but who knows? I always Builders First Source, we're big on succession planning. So if there's a person, people are retiring at the end of the year, retiring at the end of the month or something like that, there might not be anything posted currently in your area, so reach out because you don't know what's coming down the thing. A lot of job opportunities are filled by referral. If you and I owned a business and we were looking to fill a supervisor position, before you go and put a post out there, a lot of times you kind of start asking around the people hey, do you know anybody that would be interested in working or looking for a position? So just having that connection, I think, kind of helps.
Yeah, going back to the unfortunately being on homelessness, you're pretty open about it. So, I mean, where did you dig the resilience out? Was that something that was in you? That was something that somebody had to bring out of you? I mean, because getting in that position, it's tough. I mean, you unfortunately you're not the only guy we've discussed that with on here, and it's just interesting to see the steps because at some point somebody coming through one of these calls is gonna experience that.
Um, to be honest, so I was living up by Chicago, and I think I moved to. I came down to Alabama, had a friend down here, and I was going to work with him. But to be honest, I think that I came down here just to be away for when I ended it. To be honest,
Yeah.
I didn't think that I had a way out. I thought that, um, I'd sit there sometimes in the evening and be like, where have I gotten myself? And I don't know what it was. It was, um, I remember going to boot camp, and in boot camp, I thought, I can't go back home because I don't want to get made fun of for not making it through boot camp. So I was like, well, I guess I'm here for 13 weeks. And you drive and push on. And I guess when I got down there to Alabama, when I came down here, I was like, I can't do that. Like, there's no way up. And I hate to keep saying analogies, but there's another one that said, God doesn't give you more than you can handle. And so, kind of leaning into faith a little bit and learning that, I've made mistakes, but I can get this right. And, slowly but surely, like I said, Sunday will be my 10-year anniversary with Builders First Source. And, I owe a lot of thanks to the Birmingham VA. Went through the OSAC program, and they did pretty good. Um, but I guess just digging down deep and realizing that there was going to be more to my story than what was written. Of he had just messed up his life, and that was it. Um, that couldn't be the final chapter. The final chapter had to end up being that he turned his life around and started helping veterans and other people on the mission.
That's awesome, man. I mean, so I mean, a lot of vets get kind of discouraged in the transition early on. What would you, what advice would you give them to stay the course and persevere?
To find to be humble, to know that we all struggle, and that even if I say it all the time, if whatever you're going to do, whether you are cleaning toilets, be the best toilet cleaner and put in the work. That's been my motto since I've gotten here, was I'm just going to keep putting in work, and people will notice. And since doing that, um, somehow I've gone from $10 an hour to a corporate position. And I don't know how. I look back and I'm like, you know, I don't know what happened. I mean, it's been a quick 10-year ride, but I have so much respect for the company and giving me the opportunity, managers along the way. Um, don't think that, I guess, as you leave or you're doing your transition, you're trying to look for work. Don't think that taking that lower position is makes you anything less. If you're overqualified, take that position to get in there, and then just start showing what yourself can do. This is what I bring to the table, and you're going to be noticed. I think a lot of times when I talk to people, they just want to kind of jump into, I want to be a GM, but you don't know the industry. Have you thought about maybe doing an entry level position and work your way up? I know it doesn't seem great, but you got to have faith in yourself. Things happen, and that's okay. There's a greater plan, and you just have to push.
Was there a moment where you realized you went from survival mode to growth mode? Was there something or somebody said something or something changed where you're like, holy, I'm making it?
Uh, I mean, every day I wake up and I've got a roof over my head, and I've got a relationship with my kids that, again, after kind of battling that stuff, but every day, um, you know, it, being humble still, knowing that, it can be taken from you at any time. You know what I mean? You never know what could happen. So you live in the moment and you keep pushing forward. Like I said, I live the job lottery. Like I've won it. Being able to help service members on a daily basis, and we're a large company, and finding those things. And even if I don't help a candidate, I try to give them resources to make sure that um, they feel like they got value from me. Because I feel like even if I send you to, and I'm going to bring up U.S. Foods again, because I know Celia, but if I if I send you to a resource and you do something good over there, or if I even send you to 84 Lumber, our biggest competitor, a win's a win. So, it's just all about helping people and doing better. So that way, I guess I can fix and adjust my tarnishment from my bad days.
It's funny because like as a recruiter, I used to do that too. I'd have people walk into my office. I'm like, no, this is not the fit for you, and I'd get them set up for another service that was the fit. Because I looked at it as, hey, it's a win is a win. I'd be doing a disservice. I'm very same mindset as you have. It's nice to hear because not everybody thinks like that.
Well,
So
and
you
I've
mentioned, yeah,
I've ran into that a little bit too, and that's why I think it comes back to just people being kind to people. Um, like I don't know why I got the opportunity to start there, but um, if you go off to another company and you're great, what happens in a couple of years? Hopefully, you remember the interaction you've had with me personally, and that hey, I've I've done this now. We're 2 years down the road. Let me see if Rodney Hatch over at Builders First Source has anything because the interaction was good. So hopefully, I leave people and people that talk to me feel like they value the information that we got and the conversation that we had.
yeah, I'm a big believer in those karmic points. Because that whole what comes around goes around. After you've been around long enough, you start seeing things come back around, good or
Right.
bad, and you
Most
realize
definitely.
I know which side of that coin I want to be on. Your two faces coin. I want to be on the shiny side, not the dark side of it.
Right.
So
Well, and that's it all comes back to that humbleness. Um, like I know that where I came from, I was staying in a halfway house in Birmingham and, spending your last 20 to pump gas and then running into the ATM and taking 20 out because that was your last 20. And now I have $40 today, but, just being cognizant of where you came from and not forgetting that.
mhm. So you mentioned several times it's a big company you work at there. So what about the company culture do you feel like is a great fit for veterans?
I feel like each market, so we have an ERG still called Proud to Serve. We have quarterly meetings for veteran spouses. Even if you're just an ally of the military, it's open to everyone. And through that, we try to push personal growth, financial help. We just try to send information and keep information in like a group setting. A lot of times after you get out, you still have that sense of wanting to belong to a group of people because that's what we're so used to in the military. I feel that like my market specifically in Birmingham, Pelham, Shelby, Chelsea, Huntsville, I feel like we were kind of like a big dysfunctional family. You spend so much time at work, you want to make sure that you align with those people. And I spent about 7.5 years or so as a safety manager. So I would have to go into locations and everybody would be like, "Oh goodness, not Hatch," but I would still make it fun. And I guess I carried that humbleness with me of, I knew there was days, especially here, if you're in the Southeast, you know how it is. It's hot as can be.
It's like a
There
monkey's
was days I
armpit.
didn't want to wear my high, my PPE and stuff like that. So I think like working here, you get into those groups of people that you might go on a Saturday and do Reefs Across America, or when Carry the Load comes through during Memorial May, you'd go hang out with them, or even if you're just going to a coworker's family's birthday party or barbecue or something, like I feel like you start growing relationships like that. And um, they were sad to see me go, even though I was like, I don't know if you're not aware, the safety guy of a company or a market is typically like public enemy number one. You
Oh
have to
yeah.
go around telling everybody what they're doing wrong. And they were sad to see me go. We probably shouldn't poll them on anonymous poll or anything because they might have something to say, but they were sad to see me leave because we had gotten so used to each other. And um, I'm located still in the Birmingham, Alabama area. I work remote out of Texas though. But I still go in to the local offices and steal food on free picnic days and stuff like that. And just try to stay. I mean, we still text all the time. And then I seen someone in the chat, mentioned SEC football. So I'm a Notre Dame fan. And so coming down here and hearing about 2012 and what Alabama did to Notre Dame and Manti, that's they still make fun of me for it. But that's what made me feel like I was a part of the family, was growing with them. We all grew through the company together, and the leadership opportunities. So, whether you're a truck driver, I've gotten numerous like self-made stories, I guess you'd call them, from military people that have joined Builders First Source and started out, let's say operations manager, dispatcher, truck drivers, and have worked up through the company using our leadership academy, helped you grow professionally and professional growth of learning how to be a better leader. We use the DISC survey, and they kind of get your, are you a D, an I, an S, or C, and then kind of using that and honing in on how you can be a better leader, to try to build you from within. So the company kind of really pulls you in and wants to build you and not just keep you as, an entry level assembler. I see that all through the company. So helps you grow.
It's funny. You said a few things there that I don't know if you put it together, but you never really left the Corps. You took the uniform off, but a lot of the things that you're saying, like, hey, it's a big dysfunctional family, we love it. That's the DoD entirely. We're taking care of our guys, safety. They don't always like to see it. That's QA almost everywhere. You see QA coming, you hear the bird call, and everybody drops their tools, and then one of my favorites, like, yeah, I still show up and steal the free food when it comes in. I mean, do you feel like you're still using a lot of those soft skills and that stuff you took from the Corps day to day, just thinking about it like that?
Most definitely. Most definitely. And like I said, you leave, you take that uniform off, but you still have that sense of one of belonging. I would say there's a large percentage, and I don't have any statistics to back that up, but I would say a large percentage of us want to stay connected to somehow to people because that's what we do during our careers in the military, and that's what you learn in the military. So having a sense of people you can trust and that you work with, um, you know, I imagine we've all had those opportunities or those instances where we've worked with people that we didn't really like, and that just makes your work, your day, makes it terrible. Um, I have a great manager now, and the CEO. We did carry the load this past weekend or this past year. We were in Dallas at Beverchon Park for the carry the load finale, and the CEO came out and joined us, and even he even sat around there and shot the crap with us and acted like he was just one of the guys. They really look to try to focus you in, and they're not just trying to pigeonhole you to stay with Builders First Source. They're trying to grow you kind of professionally, and help you build your experience. So that way, who knows professionally? Like I said, you can plan a picnic, but you can't predict the weather.
Mm-hmm. So can you talk about your time as a safety coordinator and how that kind of prepped you for your current outreach role? Because I mean, there's that a lot of that. Hey, I gotta get this delivery, but I still got to get the job done.
I guess it started out that, and you're going to make me go back to the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps taught me to lead from the front. And so being in safety was, I was sitting there, I was like, well, this is number one. A lot of the office people would wear tennis shoes and stuff like that. You kind of dress down a little bit. But when I took over the safety thing, I thought that was my first thought. Well, shoot, I can do that. But then I realized quickly that, I need to lead from the front. I need to lead by example. So if I'm going to go out and drive a forklift, I need to make sure that I'm wearing my PPE, forklift seat belt, stuff like that. And then even holding meetings, hold meetings every month at all of our locations, and then day-to-day walkthroughs. And literally, I was public enemy number one. There was lots of a truck's fully loaded with material and it's getting ready to leave the gate. And I would jump out from behind a pile of material and stop right there. Let's check your tires. And, you know, uh, having the backbone to stand up and tell GMs or the market manager that hired me that, hey, that truck can't leave because if this tire comes off and we end up injuring a family of 5 on the interstate, forget any type of money that this is going to bring in because it's going to, so I guess it built my confidence a little bit in learning that, we can, I've came from where I came from, I guess it built me up to be a better safety leader. And that's why I still think you go around the locations down here, I think that they would all pull that, we kind of mishatch and hatch safety Fridays. Um, I mean, they still let me come steal food, so they must have, they haven't locked the doors yet on me.
That's the yeah, acquisitions, free food acquisitions, and nobody got to turn that down. So, I mean, what do you do now as a SkillBridge and vet outreach specialist for Builders First?
So we, like I said, we have about 600 locations across the country. And we have lumber yards, millwork facilities, which millwork is doors, windows, trim, molding, different things like that for houses. The manufacturing facilities manufactures roof and floor trusses for residential, commercial, multifamily. We have lumberyard, kind of like mimics the kind of like a Home Depot or Lowe's lumberyard. We sell to a lot of the bigger home builders uh, across the country: D.R. Horton, Adams Homes, Lennar, Roush Coleman, and then depending on where you're at, out west in California, Dixie Line Lumber and Home Stores is ours. If you're up near Alaska, Spenard, National Lumber. We just bought Truckee Tahoe Lumber Company. We provide a lot of the building materials for a lot of the big builders and the custom builders. We're open to the public, so if we all want to go build a fence around my backyard or something, we could go get treated lumber from location. We're open to the public. They've just recently, the past few years, we bought a IT kind of paradigm. It's kind of an IT design company that helps. Our main plan is we want to be a one-stop shop for the customer. So if you're building a $300,000-$400,000 house, you could use our My Builder app and see all the finishings, see kind of what the color of your finishings would be. Do you want a porch here, porch there? It's kind of one-stop shop. Customer come in, that's rolled out in different markets. Ready frame. So traditionally, you would build a house, and if you go through a new subdivision, you'll see that they build it kind of board by board, starting at the walls after the concrete's done. Now we have a thing called Ready Frame that's rolled out in strategic markets across the country where we build the walls in-house, ship them to the job site, cuts down on material. Might not be for like a custom home builder, it's building a one-off, but if you think of like a big Roush Coleman, Lennar, Ryan Homes, whatever the company might be, they're building a subdivision of 20 houses, and you could use Ready Frame and have a house done in 5 or 6 days at 1,700 square foot or so. You add that up over the length of those, so that's what they do there. In the SkillBridge side, I try to place you in your market of where you live. So anywhere across the country, we do a little SkillBridge intake call. I get your information. I reach out to the market or location that you're looking to work in, and I try to make that military introduction through the hiring managers, the GMs, depending on the position you're looking for. Our corporate offices are located in Dallas, Denver, and Raleigh. A lot of those now, I will say that a lot of stuff is kind of starting to go back into office. So a lot of our corporate positions are located in the office. And I think this year we're on track to do about 14 billion this year, which is down a little bit from COVID. The years there during COVID were kind of on a little bit of a coming off COVID, and things are kind of starting to level out. But no, if there's a opportunity that you see on the careers website, and you're interested in a SkillBridge or even direct hire, if you reach out, I'm more than happy to connect you with kind of the market and make that introduction, get you some visibility.
Yeah, you touched on kind of some of the careers there that you guys offer from labor to, is there like more of the stuff that is a little more broad, like on the corporate side, like, IT or project management that you see veterans going into?
We do have an IT department as well, and they would probably be located near Dallas, Denver, Raleigh. The project management piece is going to be located most likely in the bigger markets. Like, to be honest, here in the Birmingham market, I don't think we have a project manager positions here in the Alabama market, just because here in this market, Auburn might down that way, and as you get down towards the beach. But the bigger markets like Atlanta, stuff like that, the project manager for us is going to be, you're going to be kind of like that point person for uh if you have a customer and they're building 7 or 10 houses, something like that. uh so we don't do concrete, we don't do electrical, we don't do HVAC. And so after that concrete gets poured and a foundation gets poured at, let's say, 2 or 3 houses, the project management area is going to be where you need to start managing. This house has walls, this house needs truss, this house needs doors and windows. Kind of being the point person of where these things are going to be in different projects like that. uh, so we do have that. Those are kind of, if you look online, those are going to be located in kind of probably the bigger strategic market areas. I always make fun of Wisconsin just because I'm originally from Chicago, but if you're looking at like Madison, Wisconsin or something like that, we might not have tons of project management opportunities. It just kind of depends on where you're located and what you're looking at.
Any odd one-off jobs that pop up every now and then you go, oh, I know a veteran would kill that.
So we call ourselves a building materials company, but we're really like a big logistics company. So
Uh,
inventory control, sales, um, dispatch, uh, inside sales is a great one too, because inside sales might sound like it's a inside sales, you're calling people and seeing, but inside sales, to me, from my experience of working in the market, is kind of like a mini project manager as well. You typically are paired with an outside salesperson, and so you're doing a lot of the administrative ordering material, making sure material is where it needs to be. You're working with the operations, the dispatcher, making sure that loads and materials getting to job sites as it needs to. Um, so I think a lot of people overlook sales and think, well, I don't want to do sales, but that's kind of like a big project management piece. For Builders First Source, you don't need a PMP specifically. You don't need tons of certifications or anything like that coming to this company. You just need all of us that are veterans or anything to do with the military. We're adaptable, we're trainable, we're teachable, ability to work in diverse groups of people, an ability to lead. And believe it or not, everybody on this call, I imagine, has all 5 of those already without a doubt. The military has taught us that. And so that's what I try to convey to managers across the country, that, hey, this candidate has the ability to learn, um, has the ability to be adaptable to the different things. We're trainable. Just be open to, um, you know, taking maybe a step down from what you want to start learning that business, whether it be an IT company, whether it be a food service company, whatever it might be. Um, just knowing that you might not have the industry experience with that company, but that doesn't matter, because you'll be easily to learn what that industry might be. And as you start learning, that's when the opportunities are going to grow from there and kind of balloon out. I always say that BFS kind of mimics the military, and the fact that we go in as an E1 or E2, and depending on where you get out, E7, 8, 9, like, what did you do during the military? You zigged and zagged and you created the career for you. A lot of these bigger companies are just the same way. I went from building trusses, swinging a 24-ounce E-swing hammer every day of the week, to safety, and to then into this position. So, I mean, you zig and zag, and you just kind of keep going.
do you have any favorite success stories for veterans that you placed where you're like, hey, this guy came in a little rough, but wow, or she's killing it now, that kind of a thing?
So I got 2 or 3 that jump out. There's a gentleman by the name of Telly Sparks down in Cedar Park, Texas, down below Fort Hood there. he got out of the Army and joined Builders First Source. I want to say it's like a dispatcher or operations, like manager and training. And he's an assistant general manager now down there now in Cedar Park, Texas, at one of our locations. I'm not sure if it's a truss plant or a lumber yard, but that's one that jumps out. Edward Honosa from Colorado Springs. He's another one that I've had a talk with here recently. I was out in Colorado Springs earlier this year and got to meet him. And same thing, left the military. I think he was actually a truck driver and then jumped into operations and then is now, I believe, an assistant GM or the operations manager for the whole location. Um, our industry is a little bit different. That you don't need a degree from Harvard, thank God, because I was in the Marine Corps and I was infantry, so I'll let you guys put the other picture in your head there. But you just need to have the ability, like I said, to learn, to grow, and that's how you're gonna be able to build, depending on whatever career you're looking for. I gotta if These are two things I tell. It doesn't matter if you're a oh 03, oh 04, oh 05, E7, 8, and 9. I always have two questions I tell every candidate I talk to too. Whenever you talk to companies, fit this into it's 2025. Fit this into the interview however you can, but what does career growth, career progression look like? Is there ability for me to succeed? Is there room for me to grow? And see how they respond. And then the other one I typically tell SkillBridge candidates, so anybody looking for a SkillBridge is, I understand during this time period from November to January, it's an unpaid internship with the DoD. But can you give me an idea of what it would look like for me to roll into a full-time position? And if they're telling you it's going to be $10 or $11 an hour, I want everybody to know when you come work for Builders First Source, because I want to be very transparent. Like I said, I'm not about trying to pigeonhole you to this and then I'm going to close the door. I want to make sure you have all the information you can, so that way you can make an educated decision on what's best for you.
So, I mean, as you're reviewing all this stuff, is there something like linguistically where people are having a hard time translating their military experience into civilian language that you see frequently with what you do?
Well, I would say, kind of like you said, don't use a whole lot of the military jumbo, because picture if I wasn't military, would I be able to understand what and I still don't for the Army, but like the 88 Bravo or the different call signs, like don't use that stuff. Use like if you're kind of senior enlisted, or use, like I did, some operations management, you know what I mean, or kind of find those things that kind of align. And then something that weighs on my heart here recently, just because of some stuff, is make sure if you're doing a skill bridge, make sure that you remember that there's people behind you that are going to be doing the skill bridge. So if you get into a position and you accept a skill bridge, know that these companies that you talk to are going to continue to be SkillBridge partners behind you. So make sure that you're upholding your end of the bargain as well, and being a good steward of the SkillBridge program, because of the people behind you and how it could affect them.
Yeah, it goes both ways, because some companies just want to chew you up and spit you out. Anything that you've seen that stood out there, or for places you've heard of where, hey, this is your warning sign. Here's your red flag.
Well, just that I think sometimes as service members, I think sometimes and not maybe service members, but anybody, we all get selfish at times. But I think that if you take an opportunity and you're just using that opportunity to get from the West Coast to the East Coast or back to your home state, and then you aren't working a full 40-hour week because you're doing other interviews to try to get a different position. I just think that, being a good steward of the SkillBridge program in general, a lot of the companies are putting in time and effort. So just make sure that you're being a good steward, because after your transition, there's going to be another service member that's going to need that. And if companies are getting bad vibes or bad instances with service members, the people behind you that could affect.
It's been good stuff. I want to make sure leaving enough time, but so do you have any closing thoughts before we let you get going and get back to work? Because I'm sure you got piles of stuff waiting to get done before the weekend.
Just that, like I said, be humble, be nice, be kind. Um, don't be afraid to it's once you transition, it's not going to out there, it's not going to be your rank and then your name. It's just going to be whoever you are. So don't be afraid to take an opportunity that might not be what you want right away. Sometimes, things are built over time. I seen somebody said they love analogy, Rome wasn't built in a day. So
That's
have that
because
in you.
Builders First wasn't there.
Exactly. They weren't using us. They used 84 lumber. Um, but just know that as you transition, it's going to be a marathon. It's not going to be a sprint. So just take your time and maybe think about, well, if I took this, I can kind of develop with a company rather than, because you don't know that industry. So you have to have realistic expectations. Um, so I'm not saying that that's not going to happen. I'm just saying, maybe think about that too, that, well, I can't do this or this, I'm getting, well, what if you took a step back and took something that you could grow into and kind of build yourself? Um, you know, we only get one shot at this. So uh, make the best of it. And I'll leave, I don't know, I'll throw my information in the chat. You don't have to be looking for Builders First Source. If you're looking for LinkedIn resource or something like that, depending on where your state is, I might have some state resources that I can share as well. Like I said, it's all just about helping people um, and kind of ease that transition.
That's awesome. Thank you. I just dropped your LinkedIn in there for you, so you don't have to go hunting and pecking around for it.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, folks will come here and connect with you. You'll add a little bit more to your network today, I'm sure. So hey, thanks for taking some time to chat with us, Rodney. I'll definitely reach out to you later. And I hope you have a great weekend. And thanks for sharing, some tough experience with the folks here. Because like I said, at some point, people are going to roll through here and have some similar experiences to you. And I hope this helps them navigate, mitigate, or hopefully avoid that. So thank you,
Well,
sir. I
then,
appreciate it.
like you said, make sure you have a plan for getting punched in the mouth.
Yeah, well, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, as Mike said. So, it's good to have that wisdom and share those experiences. So, thank you very much, sir. You have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you all.
Bye bye. Okay, everybody, we'll be back here at the top of the hour with Alan Worthy from Lockheed Martin. I'll see you guys in a few minutes.